Kayla.
This is Becky with a couple of Bees Read.
And we are going to talk about these wines at our weekly wine on Wednesday, so hold the phone for that. But before we do that, it's time for our Book of the Month predictions. So I've got a pretty good list for us. We've been looking around. We've got some good feedback on previous stuff.
Yep.
So we're going to give it a shot.
Let's see.
First of all, 0 Days, Ruth Ware. Jack and her husband Gabe are security experts hired to break into buildings and hack security systems. When a routine assignment goes awry, Jack returns to find her husband dead. Now Jack is the prime suspect, which is very classic Ruth Ware. Right. I've read The It Girl. I read In the Dark, Dark Woods. Like, Ruth Ware is a queen of stuff like this, and Book of the Month loves her. So I feel like this is a shoo-in.
Okay. Then, of course, we have The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand, who is a repeat author with them, as is Ruth Ware. This one we predicted last month, but it didn't come out. But we were looking at it maybe an add-on is kind of what more I'm thinking about instead of the actual Book of the Month choice. And it's just true Ellen Hildebrand. And she's always good. So it's about a food blogger who she has this perfect looking life, and then her husband gets killed in a wreck, and things go kind of crazy after that. So
next up, the only one left, which is Riley Sager. They always seem to pick Riley Sager. I love Riley Sager, but he's one of those authors that I know there are some Book of the Month fans that feel like he's a little overrated. And his last novel did not get the best of reviews, The House Across the Lake. I liked it, but I know some people weren't fans, so I'm curious to see whether they will use him again, just because the last novel didn't do as well. But The Only One Left sounds like a really cool story. Since 1929, Lenora Hope has never left her family's main estate ever since she was accused, but not convicted, of her sister's murder. Now, in 1983, Kit McDear becomes Lenora's home health aide to care for the wheelchair-bound woman who cannot speak. As Lenora begins to type out her story to Kit, Kit suspects that the old lady might not be as harmless as she appears. So I don't know, it kind of gives me Verity vibes for those who are fans of Colleen Hoover. So that said, I love Riley Sager. I hope I need another Riley Sager hardcover on my shelf. So next up, Lady Tan's Circle of Women. The granddaughter of one of the only female doctors in China is taught all about women's illnesses alongside her best friend Mei Ling, a midwife in training. When she becomes a wife in an arranged marriage, she is forbidden from speaking to Mei Ling or helping the household women. Determined to break away from tradition, she goes on to treat women from every level of society in this novel based on a true story from the Ming Dynasty. So, it seems like one that they would pick up, based on the cover, based on the story, get a little bit of culture in there. The Whispers is one that it's a thriller that I probably wouldn't pick up, as it seems to have some child abuse red flags in it, but it is about a neighborhood of well-to-do families, and when they have a get-together at this one family's house, everybody's really shocked when she goes off on her young son, and later that night the son falls from a second-story window. So things kind of unravel from there. Not one I would personally pick up. No, that's not for me, for sure. But they have Girl A and things like that I feel like might be a precedent for it.
Right. Then Love Theoretically. Allie always has great books. It's romance from the scientific, professor type vibes all in it. So,
and they've carried all of her books in that series. Yeah, so I would be surprised if Allie Hazelwood's not a pick.
Right.
Next, The Paris Daughter In 1939, Juliet and Elise become instant best friends in Paris, bonding over being young mothers to little girls. When Elise is targeted by the German occupation, she entrusts her daughter to Juliet. When Elise returns after the war, she finds Juliet's bookshop reduced to rubble. Neighbors say that Juliet and a young girl survive, but which girl and where have they gone?
Yeah, this sounds like something I would read.
Yes, historical fiction at its finest. And this is one I would like to see. I mean, we all know I'm going to get the Riley Sager novel, but Girls and Their Horses is the thriller coming out in June that I want to read. It's about the Parker family, and they joined the horseback riding world. The mother in the family didn't get a lot of things, and then she married into this wealthier family, and she wants to give her daughters all the things that she didn't get as a child, including horseback riding lessons. So they join this stable, and she goes every day in the summer to drink wine with the moms and watch her girls ride, and then things kind of start to fall apart. There's like mean girl cliques in the stables, and before the summer's over, lies will turn lethal, accidents will happen, and someone will end up dead.
You know, the thing is, people talk about mean girls in middle school and high school and that kind of thing. If there's a mean girl clique, they're going to be mean adults too. They don't grow out of it. If you're mean, you're mean. I mean, it's just the way it is.
This is so true. But I'm definitely interested in that one. The Last Lifeboat is inspired by a remarkable true story of a young teacher who evacuates children to safety across perilous waters in a moving and triumphant new novel from Hazel Gaynor, who I don't feel like Book of the Month has carried her, but
no.
The based on a true story is really what caught my eye.
On that one, yeah. Now this one, My Murder, sounds kind of interesting.
Yes. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. Basically, Lou is this happily married mother of an adorable toddler, and one day Lou is murdered. And the doctors bring her back from the dead. So she goes on living her life, but she realizes that she doesn't actually remember who killed her. So that killer could still be around. It could be a member of her family. It could be a friend. It could be a neighbor.
It could be anybody.
So she has to solve her own murder.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not really sure what it meant by, like, recently brought back to life and returned to her grieving family. Like, I don't know if she went into a coma and they brought her back to life, or if there's going to be, like, a science fiction take on it. But either way, it's got a really cool premise.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably one I would I would want to read too.
Absolutely. Dead 11. On a creepy island where everyone has a strange obsession with the year 1994, a newcomer arrives, hoping to learn the truth about her son's death, but finds herself pulled deeper and deeper into the bizarrely insular community and their complicated rules. So, kind of culty, a little bit of horror.
Not 1984, but 1994. It's come and gone for a while back. Yeah.
I think it sounds like one that would be interesting. I know they seem to sometimes avoid island conspiracy novels. Like I don't think they carried The Island of Dr. Moreau, even though it was written by one of their favorite authors.
Yes, I just realized you said that. Thank you for reminding me. I have not gotten that book and I wanted to read it.
I got to read an early edition of it. It's really good. But it's I don't mean The Island. The Daughter of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. Yeah, that's it.
So the next up was Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea. And this made me think of, they recently had a piratey pick, like a female pirate story. Yes. And this is very similar. It deals with kind of, I think the main protagonist is Chinese, and she is a pirate. It's a swashbuckling kind of tale, but it's got a lot of cultural diversity. And it just seemed like a really good Book of the Month pick. And then S.A. Cosby, I he was actually kind of a last minute find for me because I didn't realize he was coming out with another novel. He wrote Razorblade Tears, which neither of us read because I think it was a little too violent for us.
Yeah.
But he has written a new novel called All the Sinners Bleed. Titus Crown is the first black sheriff in the history of Charon County, Virginia. In recent decades, quiet Charon has had only 2 murders. But after years of working as an FBI agent, Titus knows better than anyone that while his hometown might seem like a land of moonshine, cornbread, and honeysuckle, secrets always fester under the surface. So, a little bit of murder mystery there. Might be something I would pick up. Like I said, Razorblade Tears were just a little violent for me, so we will see. The next one I saw that I liked is The Spectacular. It's written by the same author who wrote the Magnolia Place, which Magnolia Palace, excuse me, which they did not carry. And did they carry it?
I don't think they did.
Okay, maybe I just didn't get it and I wanted it. That could be it.
Because I thought you got it. I must be wrong.
But it is a thrilling story about love, sacrifice, and the pursuit of dreams set amidst the glamour and glitz of Radio City Music Hall, which if you've never been there, it's probably the only reason to go to New York, in all honesty. But it deals with that place. It is The Spectacular. Another one I noticed, and I haven't seen this on a lot of lists, so it's kind of a shot in the dark, but Maddalena in the Dark. And I saw it was being comped to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Mexican Gothic, both Book of the Month picks.
Yes.
Yes. It is set in 18th century Venice at a prestigious music school, and it's about kind of 2 girls drawn together by a dangerous wager. There's a violinist. It looks really cool. I would read it.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil. 7 women, inextricably linked by one man, must figure out which of them killed him in order to protect one another in this electrifying debut thriller. Book of the Month loves debuts.
Yes.
And
very much so.
I feel like this just sounds like
Like one they would.
pick.
Yes, it does.
And this is one I thought you might like, Becky. A 7-year slit. An overworked book publicist with a perfectly planned future hits a snag when she falls in love with her temporary roommate, only to discover he lives 7 years in the past. In this witty and wise new novel from the New York Times bestselling author of The Dead Romantics. Very Lake House, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
love that.
Great movie. So
Somewhere in Time. I like all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I think if they like, this might be a Becky pick.
Yeah.
So those are our picks for this month. Book of the Month. Hopefully you're listening. But as always, we're eager to see what you actually put out.
Yes, very much so.
Well, thank you guys.
Hey, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks.